So advertise their willingness with visual displays, sounds, or chemicals to mate, and members of the opposite sex, typically females, members of opposite sex, typically females, choose who they're going to mate with, who they're going to accept. Choose which mate they accept. And you have probably seen this in different animals, right? If you haven't courted someone or asked someone to go to dance or done stuff, that would be a visual display. So if you've ever asked someone if they want to be in a relationship with you or they want to go to a dance, right? You've probably done it with visual displays with like a poster, flowers, something like that. You might have played a song. You're using your language, you're using your voice, right? To ask them whatever it is. In animals, we see in different ways, right? With birds, a lot of times it's a mixture of displays and sounds. Some animals will release chemicals, right, called pheromones, in order to attract mates. Peacocks, right? Very interesting. If you've ever seen a peacock do it, my dad has a bunch of peacocks at his house. Peacocks, what they'll do is they'll open all their feathers up and they vibrate. And what it'll do, it'll just like move around. It'll, I don't want to say sway, but it'll move side to side, right, to show off its feathers to the female. They'll do it and typically in front of the female in order to grab their attention and show them off. It's kind of funny because it's actually happened where they do it to turkeys. I'm sure it was just, I don't know, coincidence, but it was kind of funny. Another type of social behavior besides courtship, which I should probably label as number 1, is territoriality. I have a hard time saying that. Territoriality and aggression. Okay. And you can guess what that means, right? Not same thing. Given the words. See, this is what happens when you're tired. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm just going to go to definition. Talking too much. When animals occupy and defend why does it keep doing that? A specific area or territory, right? That has the resources they need. Can you think about what these resources are? What resources would someone need to live somewhere? What resources do you need in your house, in your home, for you to survive, to do well, to thrive? You need food, water. For animals, it's nesting sites. You can think about it more like a bed. You need a bed. Right? For animals, it's nesting sites. I don't know why that line is there, but it's annoying. Nesting sites. Again. Shelter, which is your home. And if we're talking about animals, potential mates, because they need to be able to reproduce. right? So here, what happens if you've ever seen Lion King or any kind of movie that has animals in it, what they will do is, like, the owner or the leader of the pack, they'll drive away the invader. A lot of times they'll fight them, right, to see who wins, in order to drive them away. And then lastly, we have societies. I'm going to do that on the next page. Societies, right? And this is important because in societies, what happens? If you think about a society, whether it's for an actual animal or humans, there's close interaction, typically, right? Close interaction and cooperation. Cooperation of a group of the same species. And what are the advantages? Why is this society important? Advantages include protection, right? Because you're not alone if something happens. You can take care of each other. What, again, you see this a lot in movies, right? If you can go to extremes, and if you've seen like a movie that has to do with like zombies or a deadly virus or anything like that, when people come together, right, they can ration the food, they can protect each other, things like that. So protection from predators. Protection from predators. A higher or increased ability to hunt because there's more, right? So if they're in a pack, they're going to be able to hunt for more food. And help fighting the rivals or invaders, right? Help fighting rivals. So what you will see in, for example, a species or a group of African dogs, adult males are going to take turns taking care of babies while the others go hunt for food. And last section, we're almost done, guys. Hang in there, I promise. Communication is the last one, because we know communication is part of social interactions as well as behavior. Communication. So how do we communicate? There's 3 ways. Well, we communicate using signals, and those signals are different depending on the animal that we're talking about. So the signals can be visual. So this can be with shapes, patterns, colors. Whether it's organism to organism or something within the society, right? So we know that if we're driving in a street light, green means go, red means stop, right? If we see the shape, right, or we see the stop sign, that means you need to stop, right? All those different signs we learn when we need to drive. And then we, of course, attribute colors for the flags, things like that. If we're talking about animals, again, we've talked about like peacocks, that they have the different colors. There's a lot of animals that will have different patterns. They signal danger for the predator that's trying to eat them, so that way they don't get eaten. Another way is chemical. So releasing pheromones. And this is something that is being studied in humans, right? Because they're studying it. There is a theory that says that humans will release pheromones, and that's why sometimes you're more attracted to some people more than others. So pheromones, and these are chemical messengers. So chemical messengers. And here, bees and ants are the ones that use these quite a bit. If you've ever wondered why all these ants all of a sudden are coming up and eating at your food, or these bees, it's these pheromones. They communicate releasing these chemicals. And we have sound, right? If you have pets, if you have a dog, you know they bark, cats meow, and so forth. So using sound, I'm going to give 2 examples. One of them is a dolphin. Dolphins are very interesting, right? Because they will use sound to communicate with other animals. These sounds travel long distance, right? So they use echolocation. So travel long distances. Another very interesting one are elephants. Elephants and other animals that will send signals. Other animals. What's very interesting is that they will send messages through the ground or through water for others to feel or hear. Think about that. That is crazy. I guess it's like kind of like, I don't want to say it's like Morse code, right? But you would have to, I don't know, just visualize it. Like stomping or whatever kind of sound message they're sending through the water or through the ground, the animal that picks it up would know what it means. I don't know, it's just mind-blowing to me, these forms of communication specifically. So send messages through ground or water for others to feel or hear. And now, actually, the very last one, I had this one on the side so I hadn't seen it, is language. I'll do it in green so it doesn't get mixed up, because this one, we don't want it to get mixed up. Language. Who uses language? All of us do, right? But specifically, oh, where's my color? Oh, there we go. So here, the language can be not just speaking, right? It could be sounds, symbols, or gestures. There's just some kind of system set up so that every different thing means something. So for example, we see this in elephants. Why does this look weird to me? Elephants, bees, dolphins, primates, and of course humans. The only difference with us humans, though, is obviously our language does not sound like any other animal, right? That's because we have rules for grammar. So that's what makes our language different. And that's it. We're done.